Well, this offseason, Seth, I think Oprah was in charge of handing out these college coaching jobs. You get a coach, you get a coach. Everyone gets a new football coach this year.
Yeah, 10 of our teams, 10 underwent coaching changes. It's a lot. About 20% of our schools.
Yeah, let's go A to Z at Abbeville. Roderick Moy coming over from Gaydon. Scott Watney fills big shoes at Catholic High. Andre Vijay takes over in Eunice. Lance Myers replaces Moy at Gaydon. Cedric Figueroa comes home to Lafayette High, as does Terrius Davis at Lake Arthur. Oliver Thierry is at North Central, and Jimmy Zachary Jr. taking over at Opelousas Catholic. David Michael Carroll, the youngest coach in Acadiana, is 24. He's at Pine Prairie. Brock Prejean taking over at Vermilion Catholic.
There was no bigger match made in heaven than Terrius Davis taking over at Lake Arthur. Davis was a star with the Tigers in the 90s and is in the school's Athletic Hall of Fame. He comes back home after spending 9 years at Vinton and takes over a Lake Arthur team that went 5-5 a year ago. For Davis, it was all about the right timing to return.
When opportunity came to possibly come back home, of course I was very intrigued by it. I always said that one day, hopefully I got a chance to go back home and kind of share my experiences that I was able to acquire as a player and as a coach. It did take some thinking, but I didn't think about it long. I knew that it was my opportunity, my time to go back home and give back to the community of Lake Arthur.
Another homecoming at LHS. Cedric Figueroa, the former Lions All-American. Figueroa graduated back in 1984. He spent time in the NFL. Last season, he was a defensive line coach at Acadiana, winning the 5A title. He also brings his son, Theos, an all-state defensive lineman, over with him. He's an all-state defensive lineman with a championship ring, too. Theos hoping to take those Lions to the postseason for the first time since 2012.
I'm sure for them, playoffs was, they always wanted to go, but this year we definitely want to go. We talk about it. We say, how much work we need to put into it and just everything we need to prepare for. So yes, I think we definitely talk about going to the playoffs.
Roderick Moy is the new head coach at Abbeville High School. He's joining us tonight for an FNF version of Mic'd Up. Coach Moy, we'll get right to it. What was appealing to you about taking over the Wildcats?
Well, Abbeville's our parish seat, and, everybody wants to be the best where they are. So to take a step up from the good job we did at Gaydon, I thought this was the next step, move up from single A to triple A, and just kind of test myself a little bit.
What was maybe the one thing that surprised you the most so far since getting to Abbeville?
I think the parental involvement, the support I've received from the parents and the community. There's this stigma over here that the parents aren't really involved, but the number of people I've had to reach out to me and say, anything you need, Coach, we're behind you. Good luck. What I heard coming in and what I've actually experienced has been like night and day, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Now, Abbeville was 1-9 last year. They've had 8 wins over the last 4 seasons. But when you took over at Gaydon, they were also 1-9 the previous year. What do you think is the biggest key to turning a program around?
I think it's the buy-in. Creating a willing culture. Buy into the kids, have the kids buy into you, and go from there. I think it's a whole lot more about people than actual X and O's. And when you get everybody on the same page, with the talent we have here in Abbeville, I think it's absolutely possible to recreate what we've done in Gaydon.
Now, what do you feel like Abbeville's strength is going into this season? What's the calling card?
Our calling card is going to be our athleticism, our speed, and being on one accord. We've jumped through a lot of hoops since June 8th. We're very excited. We've got 15 seniors who don't want to leave here with that losing mantra on their backs. So they want to be the group that turned it around, and I think we've worked hard enough to try to see it get done.
And finally, what do you think needs to happen in order to call year one a success?
Well, it all starts up front. That's the name of the game in football. If we're very dominant on the offensive and defensive lines, our skilled people can compete with anybody. So if we can just tie up front, we're going to be okay when it's all said and done.
Abbeville opens the season next week hosting Eunice. Coach Roderick Moy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, if you miss anything from tonight's show, you can rewatch our entire show right now at KATC.com, the KATC mobile app, even on Roku. That's where my mom watches the show all the way from Pennsylvania. Well, 3A is traditionally the most contested class here in Acadiana. Who's primed to stand out this fall?
Final block of the night. When we come back, you're watching Friday Night Football right here on KTC.